Getting back to how Mouse ruined comics.
Okay.
All right, 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds are up. No more boomer music.
So getting back to how Mouse.
Well, that's not how I wanted this to go at all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. It is time once again for 30 people's favorite YouTube show, The Mattriarchy. We are here today, and I have to confess. I have to make a confession, Cartoonicus. I had all the best intentions of reading through much of Kitty's Day Out. I did not do that.
Well, that's all right, because you showed up tonight, unlike literally everyone else in our group. So I know who my real friends are now.
Well, and you, I wouldn't go that far with things, man, because I also did not tell anybody about this outside of our little. Well, I mean, I mentioned on the stream last week, but I didn't tell anybody about it outside of our little chat group. And
I did a bit of promoting.
Yeah, I had hoped that we might get Hutch to come on, be given his great love of Captain Carrot. I thought he might be able to find some common ground betwixt these, but appears to not have been the case. Oh, hey, Metal said he is on his way.
Hopefully that means he'll be on the stream.
That would be awesome. That would be great. So, and I just goes, sends you a friend invite. So here's the situation, right? We're going to do, everybody. We'll just tell you guys about it. Is that, you'll be lots of help, Metal. Because typically when we try to feature one of our comics, when we have one of our friends or acquaintances come on to do a little spieling about their book, typically what we end up doing is having a situation where we'll read it and then we'll analyze it and we'll do like the book club kind of thing with each other's books. But that is actually 100% not what's happening today. Instead, what we're doing is we're actually going to be Cartoonicus. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little elevator pitch of what Kitty's Day Out is?
All right. I like to call it the comic that thinks it's a game. And what you're going to see as we continue through this thing, you basically have a webcomic that is formatted both visually and structurally as if to try to convince you that what you are doing is playing a point-and-click classic point-and-click adventure video game from the 90s, basically. And I started out with that just being kind of just the visual feel of it. And by the time I got halfway through, I had actually figured out a way to incorporate real game mechanics into it. Much in the same way that if you were playing a tabletop game or even solitaire, all I have to do is give you the rules and you can play a game without something having to force you through a system, right? So I simply figured out a way to use the comic pages as your notepads, your cards, or whatever else you can use when playing a solitaire-like game to be able to create a system where you have to make decisions, keep track of inventory, and make it through to the end.
So what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to have you in the chat and us on the panel read portions of Kitty's Day Out together. And as we do that, then we'll go ahead and do some of our brainy talking about stuff, right? Yeah. I'm going to make it up on the fly. Now, I have read chunks of chapter 1 from the first iteration of chapter 1. I did not dig into it, and I meant this weekend to do it, but I ended up not. I was trying to work on my car and work in my yard and Mother's Day. So I did not get much comicking read today. So, although I did read the last issue of the Bad Guys.
Oh,
Yeah. It is weird. I didn't understand anything that was going on there because it was a wrap up of the series, and it went completely off the rails at some point. There's interdimensional aliens and all kinds of stuff. So,
well, you will see no interdimensional aliens in my comic.
I will say that as far as somewhat related, Blabley's follow up, which is actually a prequel to the Bad Guys, Cat on the Run, I've been loving that. So,
still need to get around to reading that.
Oh, it's really fun, really fun. I highly recommend it. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove.
Do you want to control the site, or should I?
Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter how you want to do it, man.
I'm thinking you should, so when it comes time to search images and explore, that you'll have control over what you want to look at.
Okay, that works. So we're going to go ahead.
However, I will have Adobe Photoshop up for when we need it, just in case we need to switch gears temporarily.
All right. So let me make sure I've got the. So, okay, would we be better this way or this way?
I'm thinking that way just so nothing gets in the way.
Nothing gets in the way. Excellent. Okay. Do we want a soundtrack since we're doing a different thing today?
No, because this actually has a soundtrack that goes with it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember reading that. All right. Actually, I might. Ooh, yeah, we're totally ready. We're real pros. Okay. Nope, not that one. That's the one. So, read episode 1. That's where we start, yeah?
Yeah, let's start with episode 1, title screen.
The title screen. Oh.
No, yeah, it's getting cut off there.
What the heck?
I think you may want to zoom out. Oh, there we go.
Okay, now, if I do this, will that still... All right. That should give us the biggest option to that. Press start. Oh, that does nothing.
So right away, you'll notice we have options for music. If you scroll back up.
Indeed. Okay. So, the way... Oh, did it go away? Okay, hang on.
Oops. Thought you did that on purpose.
No, I'm trying to lay my screen out so I can see if we're getting any people in the chat as we go through that. It's going to be important for us to have that
right
part there. So, I think we're all there. So scroll down, start the achievement.
All right, and immediately you've got an achievement.
What is this on Xbox? Come on. Welcome to tutorial. Every game needs a tutorial. Not sure that's true. Okay. More of that patented Cartoonicus sense of humor, I see.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And another achievement unlocked.
Finish the tutorial.
Man, we're just giving these things away.
Now, this is just an animation, right? This doesn't actually do
However,
anything?
if you scroll just down a little more, you actually get to choose. And you're going to want to get a pencil and paper, everybody. Or at least just you, Reese. And we can decide. You want to do easy mode, hard mode, medium?
Well, let's let the chat decide, because I don't even know what that means. But I have to go get some paper.
Oh, ready? Everybody, weigh in. You like playing your games on easy, medium, or hard? I'll give that a second. Donovan Reese says hard mode for hardcore game.
Nothing about this strikes me as hardcore.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Glad you can make it. The
Are
medal,
you?
everybody. The medal is also a comic artist with several of his own titles online.
I don't
Man,
believe that.
everybody's wanting hardcore, huh? Okay. Great. See, I was thinking medium, so I wouldn't have to do any extra whatevers. So I'm supposed to subtract 2 and $. And what does that even mean? I'm so confused.
It'll later, trust me.
Okay, so
Let's just make a couple notes for now.
make a couple of
Negative
notes.
2,
Minus 2, comma,
$,
$, heart, comma, film. That's not a film thing.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got to draw. I'm the writer. Oh, and the cat. I subtract the cat as well.
Yep.
Well, I'm not
2
going
of
to try to
each.
draw your little cat head. Let's see if I can draw a simpler cat.
You can just say K for kitty.
Draws an Egyptian hieroglyphic of a cat.
That would be amazing, but that's not quite what I'm doing. Here are my notes. If I can, I've got too much light on it.
Yeah,
Here.
you can't see him.
It's overexposed.
Oh, now we can see it. Yep. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. I see the $. I see a peep. I see a ladder and a cat head.
Excellent. Now I can play your stupid game, Cartoonicus. Okay. We start off with less of the kitty, like one paw missing. Wow. When Isaac wanted to do hard mode, he meant it.
Well,
Okay.
it says subtract 2, so maybe 2 paws are missing.
Maybe.
Right. Let's subtract 2 of each of these.
So, do we just go on to the next screen immediately?
You
Is
may.
that where it starts? Okay.
Yep.
Kid,
But not
open it.
until you give that a like.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm not
You have to
logged
be
in.
logged
I don't have a
in.
tap
Oh.
account. That's right. Sorry,
You
no like.
escape the like for
Oh,
now.
So here we go. We got this little GIF
Intro.
animation. I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
An embedded GIF. And then here is it without that. Well, that's fun. Okay.
Taylor's Little Old Bookshop, Califrancisco, West Pacific region.
Oh, goodness sakes. Man, that's a lot of cats.
That is
This
a lot
entire-
of cats.
This entire apartment just stinks. This reeks of ammonia, I can tell.
Well, at least we get to get rid of 2 of them. So
Yeah, that's true. So when do I start subtracting 2 of the cats? So, wait, is somebody spying on the cats?
No, that's her waking up.
Oh, she's waking
First
up. Oh,
person.
so this is Kitty. So Kitty, one of the cats is named Kitty. That's what we're getting at with.
You'll notice there's something a little different about one of the cats compared to all the others.
Well, yeah, the other ones look most like cats, but this cat kind of looks. She's got that
anthropomorphic.
anthro look that
Right.
you keep going on about. So, dear diary, today Grandma bought me a new collar. Says it matches my ears and nose. Not sure if I like it better than the old one. A little snug and hard to wear without getting itchy. Grandma says it just needs to be broken in and it will fit better. It makes me wonder how humans walk around all day wrapped with all of that cloth. I could never understood why they do that. Well, it's because we're not covered in fur.
True.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Okay. Well, most of us. Even Claude has been wearing clothes for years now, and he looks pretty sharp in them. Oh, there's another character named Claude. But how can he stand it in the summer? Is Claude also a cat? I see a cat with glasses and a tie. Okay. Well, anyway, the new collar's still pretty swell. It's nice and shiny, and I like shiny things. She's half ferret. Like the television screen, oops, gotta go. Timid Tabby and the Whiskers gang is about to start. And I can't wait to see the monster of the week. So there is a hole. Speak for yourself, Dave says. I'm assuming he's talking about not being covered in fur. That seems like a Dave joke. Okay, so it's a world where there is cat-specific television programs. Duck and cover. It's a duck. Guide to surviving the you-know-what. Message from the Department of PSAs. That's hilarious.
All right. Yawn. Rub. Stretch. Blink, blink.
Link.
Onomatopoeia.
Oh, man.
And another achievement.
The fourth wall, you break it, you buy it. That's grand. So,
all right.
That was nice. No, gain 7. Let's make them nice. So you gain 7.
Right, it means you start with 5 now.
So we have 5. Okay. So it's not enough that I have the rule. I have to have a grid on my little paper to determine how my action points. Is that what these are?
This is energy.
Energy points. Oh, good gravy. Okay. So each of the symbols, you've got the $ symbol. You've got the lightning bolt symbol, because that's more important than the heart. You've got a film strip symbol. I need to simplify that if I'm going to be drawing it again.
And you'll notice we start out with 9 lives, but you guys chose hard mode, so we'll be only starting with 7.
And kitties. So the kitties are lives?
Correct.
Okay.
In video games, your face is always your life.
Not always, but often.
Usually.
My favorite version of that was in the Hercules game, where they used the little Hercules action figure from the movie as the 3 guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, hang on. I'm drawing my little grid here, which apparently will matter.
You got to do homework to read this comic, everybody.
That's already going to deduct some points off of it.
Well, we already deducted 2 off of everything.
Yeah. Hey, okay, so Dave's got a good point. Fur is hair that grows to a particular length and stops, like arm and leg hair. Actually, all of your hairs do that. Even head hair is only programmed to grow so long. And that's why one of the interesting things, here's a little side note, totally distraction. I think pretty much you guys have been watching me for a long time know that I have psoriasis. And it's in a little remission because of some of the treatments that I'm on right now, but I used to be really, really bad. But my hair, I had long and short hair during when it was really bad. And my hair did not get as long. It had stopped getting long. And I thought it was just because I was hitting middle age. But when I started getting on these biologics, and my inflammation started going away, my hair started getting longer again. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, my hair is as long as it won't grow anymore. It's as grows where it stops. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Technically, like all hair is fur. There's really no difference other than what we classify it as, because we think we're different from animals. That's where the naming system came. But honestly, we have scalp. If you want to say anything on your scalp is a different type of hair, you can. But it is all still just hair, and all of it does eventually molt almost cyclically. You just don't really notice when the individual long hairs molt out of your head.
Well, and the other thing is that makes fur difference from hair, like classification, is that like fur typically has an overcoat and an undercoat, and most people don't have any kind of an undercoat. They just got one length for that particular chunk of their body. So It's not like we got short hairs and long hairs that make up your head hair, unless you give yourself an undercut. But yeah, typically that's the big difference. And then there are some dogs that don't have an undercoat, but we still call it fur, but that's not accurate.
Getting a biology lesson here tonight, folks.
Yeah. Well, if I gotta do something about all the math. Okay, so I'm going to use hash marks here. So we've got 7 lives. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And we've got. Do we start with any
It'll
energy?
Be $2.
Negative $2. Okay. Negative $2. And so we have 5 energy.
Right.
And no film strips.
Right. Right now it'll be -2 film.
Well, you found the speakers. Okay. Do the speakers do anything?
Yep.
Follow the link in the description for some groovy beats. Go to the bedroom or the
optional,
library.
Of course, for everybody. Some people like listening to music while they read a comic, but some people do not. So I made it optional.
Okay, so morning Whiskers, morning Fluffy, morning Puss, morning everybody. She's really not mentioning like half the cats that are there. Another day, another day.
They all have like very not creative names for cats. Like the type of names that you could confuse all the cats for each other.
Well, here's Isaac. Isaac brings up a question. Notes, math, animal science. Am I back in school? Here's the ticket. When you hang out
games in school
with the homeschool dad, it's always school time. That's just ask the Reese boys about that sometime. Yeah. They'll tell you.
Only he teaches us about comics
or anything. The cats are named. I like cats named after food. Dave says.
Well, it does make it easier in case of an emergency when you have to make some sacrifices.
Oh my gosh.
Too early for breakfast. Wonder if I should wake up Grandma. Or maybe just keep myself busy for a while. What to do? It's time to waste some time. Grab a paper and pencil. Okay. You need to waste some time until Grandma gets up. Start with 7 times. Where are the time points?
These are new.
Yes, these are new.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to do this for you?
Are there more kinds of points than just these ones?
There'll be. Wait. No, I think that's it from here on out.
Okay, because otherwise,
until it isn't.
Okay. So we start with 7 time points. Each room you visit will have a time cost between 0 and 3 time points, but you don't want to take too long and miss breakfast. When you enter a room, deduct the amount of clocks shown. When you drop below 1 clock, you go directly to chapter 10 and continue at the font.
Yep.
Okay. But if you drop below -1, it's game over and you go back to the last checkpoint. Keep track of your numbers to get back in time and explore as much as you can. Good luck. Okay. So, where would you like to go? The backyard, the bedroom, or the library?
All right, everybody. Votes in the chat. Where should we go?
And also, there was the one that had the record player. Is that? Or, I don't know.
You mean the talking about how to get the music? Whoa! What are you doing there?
I'm trying to navigate this. It's difficult. I was looking for a thingy over there. Oh, this is a choose your own adventure, somewhat. Yes. Hello, Fly Fox. Bedroom. Isaac says bedroom. We got 1 vote for bedroom.
This is kind of like a point and click adventure without the point and click.
Exactly what it is.
Is this the new Halo 2 game? It is actually Halo 4.
I don't remember Halo 4 looking like this.
Yeah. That's 'cause
You have to get the right mod.
Okay.
All
So I go here to how do I navigate this?
All right. So, oh, yes, you changed the.
Is it list?
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
good gravy.
Ooh, yeah, that's not the greatest.
Next. Okay, that's
So it's crunched in the. I'm assuming it's because you have the window smaller.
oh, let's see about that.
No, it's still down under the list. That's odd. Usually it's just over on the side. Oh, there we go. So you see that? Oh, to answer your question, Fly Fox Pro, it should look like this, and then you can look down on the side to see which chapter you want to click on.
Okay, so here we are, bedroom. We're loading it up in the bedroom.
All right.
So, question here: are these like squiggles on the dressing curtain? Are those like break lines or like vines?
Squiggles? Oh no, that's just like wood.
Okay. You found the flashlight. Use it to illuminate hidden objects. You can adjust your screen details to look for hidden details. See notes below for more things. Okay. So, adjust my screen brightness.
Yeah, everybody's monitor will have different settings as to just how dark and light it can go. So if you have to, I suggest taking a screenshot and bring it into something like Photoshop, and then you can really mess with the details all you like.
Okay. Is a paw print.
And I will illustrate what that looks like here.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and peanut butter, tortellini, biscuits, marmalade. Oh, it's a shopping list. Oh, no, this is the back to names for cats.
Oh,
Yeah, I have a suspicion that Dave might secretly be Gordon Shumway.
Yes, it is a puzzle game and comic. So it's do you have your Cartoonicus? Did you have the flashlight bit you wanted to show forth? Meals ready to eat. Cats.
oh, okay, there you are. Lost you guys for a second.
Oh, I don't feel lost.
Oops. Sharing my screen here. What I've done is I've just taken a screenshot and I've brought it into Photoshop here. You can do this with pretty much any, image editor. Make sure I'm up. Yeah. And so we'll just go to images, adjust brightness and contrast. And let's see what happens when we wait. Hold on. What is that right there?
You know, most people only have paint, right?
Hey, you can use. There are a plethora of these things that you can use for free on the internet.
Well, it looks like a serial number to something.
It does.
Actually, I hadn't seen that earlier. I just wasn't sure if that's what I was supposed to be looking at or if that was some little artifact. So, am I supposed to write down the serial number then?
You may want to.
Is that 10?
I thought that it was actually a signature, and Cartoonicus was secretly revealing that he was a robot this entire time, which would very much explain his bizarre food tastes.
This is all AI art.
Yeah. So is that 1019 I?
That's a slash, actually. I
Just a
shouldn't be giving
slash,
that
okay.
away, but whatever.
019 I J A R
Oh, that's
10.
a P, actually.
That's a P?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm zoomed in so I can see it better.
104R 1.
1.
I think you were reading the the second tone from that like little green carpet or table or whatever that was
I
as
think
like
you're
a
right.
leg.
So /019 IJAP104R1.
This is like the file name that Windows gives you on screen caps.
Oh, and then we got another thing up here, don't we?
Oh, okay. It's a website.
It's a link to his DeviantArt stash.
Is that what it is? Is that the whole business? Is that all of that is?
Can't give away too much.
ATP.
It's something somebody would recognize
you guys
immediately
think.
if they also have a stash.
Stash is just a really good place to be able to hold something and then share it easily.
Yeah.
Isaac says Rule 34.
I hope we're avoiding Rule 34. That would get
how
rid
dare
of the
you
stream.
even mention Rule 34 on a stream like this?
I think he mentions. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, so we can get off of that.
So now we've done with the flashlight. So let's get on to the rest of this here. And there's the kitties looking around. Okay. 6:45. That's a fun little graphic.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of little visual clues snuck in here.
It is PM. All right. Well, that's weird.
Somebody said EM equals MC squared.
Yes. Our lives for your lives, they assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. That is from Joshua.
That is.
But this is Job.
It is.
Okay. So the living room or the vanity. To check out the vanity, skip to chapter 7. Go back to the living room. Go to chapter 6. Now, this was... How many clocks was this supposed to be here?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to remember how many clocks we got to keep track.
I think for... Wait a minute. Let's go back to chapter 2 and double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should.
Isaac says 2.
Isaac says 2 clocks. I will trust you, Isaac.
Okay.
Implicitly. Okay. So that means we have 5 clocks left. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so do you want to go check out the vanity or do we want to go back to the living room?
One for either. Isaac.
Oh no, Grandma is dead, Dave says. I don't think so, Dave. I mean,
No. If Grandma was dead, all the cats would have eaten her by now.
Also, there's you see the sleeping. She's got the Z's going.
Yes, the Z's are the sign for the cats to know not to eat her.
That's the trick.
Yeah, I had to put the Z's in there because I knew people would
Okay.
think that.
So Isaac thinks vanity, and nobody else is voting. So
I think you guys should have a vote as well.
I cast my vote to the chat.
Okay.
I am just along for the ride. So, this is so weird.
Tapas is a weird site.
Not the best. So wait, we're supposed to go over here again to Vanity chapter 7. Vanity. Okay.
Isaac wants to know, can she speak to humans? Which, honestly, all cats can speak to humans. The better question is whether they can be understood. Cartoonicus, how do you want to respond to that?
You will find that out.
So here we go. We are at 4 clocks left. And here is a cat and another cat that are standing upright. This one has a little bow tie. What was the cat's name from the library?
Anybody remember?
Is this a broken mirror in this compact?
That looks like a compass.
That could be. I just may have assumed it was a compact because it's here on a woman's vanity here. Cat's brushing itself. Don't believe this for a second.
Yeah, if it was like, there we go, the tongue.
That's
I was going to say if it was the tongue, I would believe that. Yeah,
that's the one right there. Okay. Achievement unlocked, looking groovy. Got to keep that hairdo looking stylish.
All right. Another option here.
Yep. Just go to the living room or go back to the bedroom. But I think we saw everything. Yeah. Fly Fox thought it was a compact as well. So. So what do we say? Living room? Check the rest of that out.
I think we just should, since
it will cast.
This will give people plenty of opportunity to do their own exploration. We should keep.
Yes, this is true.
Okay, or could we get like bonuses for just dumping all of our points early and going straight to the meal?
I don't know. Okay. But chapter 6 is back into the living room. That's a different living room than the last living room we were in, because that was in chapter, right? Okay. And where did this magnifying glass come from? I don't remember having a magnifying glass.
That is true.
Okay, so we left the TV on. Here's Kitty and other cat. Claude. Dear Diary, Claude just arrived. I was playing with a ball of yarn I found in the closet. There was a knock at the door. Grandma opened it and shouted, Claude. I was very happy to see him. Or I looked up and shouted, Claude. But he just patted me on the head and walked by and said, hey. Followed Grandma to the kitchen. I got a cat that acts exactly that way. Now there's a commotion. I can hear them discussing something loudly. Claude sounds like he's getting upset. I really want to know what they're saying, so I'm moving my ear up to the door. Well, that's a bit of a mystery.
That is.
Whoa, it's a tiger.
And we have our choice again.
Back to the bedroom.
Yeah, let's not go around in circles tonight.
Walk back and forth between these two rooms.
Yeah, until it's like mealtime. I think that's the perfect result. Let's just do that. Just pacing until mealtime.
It's the perfect result.
If we stay in one place, the meal will find us faster. Which that's a throwback to an old comic that my buddy Chris wrote. The Adventures of Seth and Murphy. If we stay in one place, the doom will find us faster. Is the line.
What you neglect to realize is that it's still a game, and in game logic, if you stay in one place, time moves on forever.
That's why we have to go back and forth between the same place, right? Which is pacing, and then that'll just waste all of our points.
So to go to the bedroom, go to chapter 3, which we just were at. Go to the library, skip to chapter 4. But the problem is that if we go to the library, we only have 3 clocks, and it costs 3 clocks to go to the library. So that's like almost the end of the game unless we can find more clocks somewhere. And then to go to the backyard, it only costs 1. To watch TV, scroll further down, that also costs 3 clocks.
Now remember, it said if you end up at 0, you skip to chapter 10.
Yeah. So we could actually just blow all of our time right now watching TV, which is the most realistic result you could pick.
Okay, chat. Tell me what you think. Are we gonna go to the Are we gonna go to the library and run out of time, and then have to go to the chapter 10, or are we going to go and watch TV to go to chapter 10? No cat would willingly miss a meal. Donovan says. Yeah, I think we get to the meal no matter what, though, because we're not going to get negative, right?
No, that's what I think. If you get negative, it's game over. You got to start again.
Right. What I'm saying is, like, whether we watch TV or go to the library, we still jump to chapter 10.
That is true.
Isaac Larkin says TV.
Well, traditionally, he's been our 1 vote so far, so.
Well, and Metal said TV too, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, but I'm just suggesting things. I'm trying to
Fox
pivot the audience into the
Ooh.
right direction.
Fly Fox woke up and chose
library.
violence.
So that we need to, and okay, so the Metal is not voicing a vote here. He's just making a suggestion. So that means we need one other person to chime in, library or TV, before we decide. Reading is for losers. Well, that's the same. Okay, that's
why we're
fair.
on a stream all about comics.
That's fair.
Well, you don't have to read comics. You can just flip through looking at the pictures.
Well, you can do the same thing here.
Yeah. Anyway, point is that you've already voted, Isaac. unless you're trying to convince Flyfox to change his vote.
Well, he voted in line with his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the TV to do the work for him.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought I was doing the work here.
Well, today you're on TV from his perspective. So
that's true. That is true. So, Donovan, you are out there. Are you going to go ahead and vote there, or what? Or Dave, or hey, if Flying Saucer is still around, he can vote too. Just go ahead. Baby foxes go to the library. All right, that's another viewer watching there, so we'll do that.
Fair enough.
To the library, raising them right. Chapter 4. This looks like a school, like an elementary school library.
I was probably remembering my days as a kid in the library when I was creating.
Oh, hey, you found a magnifying glass. Here's use it to investigate details. You can zoom in and out of your screen to find hidden details. So, are we in is that like are those going to be in this one here, or is that going to be in the other one?
What do you mean?
Oh, you said you find a magnifying glass. So are we going to go to this top panel to zoom in, or are we going to just do that down
Well,
here?
Wherever.
Can we just use it to fry ants or something instead?
I don't think Metal's having a good time tonight.
I'm going to make the list go away here. It's another website.
Yes, it is.
Are all of the secret clues just websites?
Many of them do use a link to take you to something. Yes.
Okay. So should we still be following these as part of our experience?
I think we should try at least one and see what happens.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do the one I already wrote down.
But we should leave enough to the viewers to try things themselves. So. But yeah, there are secret, hidden clues all throughout this entire comic.
It's an alternate reality game.
An ARG.
Yes. So 019 IJA P10 4R1. Now let's see if I wrote that down right. Okay. Here we go. We will go ahead and close that. And I've seen this scene before, Isaac says. Yes, you have. So
to clarify, everybody, he didn't just punch those numbers in. He first punched in the HTTPS stash URL and then added the numbers.
Yes. So I've got to share screen to this one over here. And this is what that came up with, was a close-up. And this was from the bedroom, the walking cane that says PW in it.
PW. Wonder what that means.
So probably a person's name.
Fly Fox.
No, is asking you to please wait.
Excellent. Okay, hang on a second. I just thought of a way to do this more easily. We're here, and I'm going to stop the screen, and I'm going to present the screen and share screen. And rather than share a Brave tab, I'm just going to share the... No, I don't want to just share the window. Never mind.
Fly Fox Pro says, is there any interest in ever making this into a game on Godot or something like that? Actually, the truth is I started out years ago trying to make a game on Game Maker, and it was taking so gosh darn long. It was going to take me 10 years to finish this gosh darn project, and at the end it would just be one small part of a bigger thing. And that's when Twitless convinced me I needed to get something together, that I could actually be putting out there instead of waiting till an entire job was finished. So we instead converted it into a webcomic. And since then, I've become almost obsessively fascinating with this concept of a comic that is a game and how the game mechanics work in that. So I'm actually very happy I did.
Yeah, but I feel like you could have just done this almost as easy instead of going to Game Maker and just use Flash.
Well, can you even do that anymore?
You can still do Flash, yeah. There's converter stuff, so you can still make things the old way that you did it with Flash, and then you can use. I'm trying to remember the name of the software. I mean, you could use Ruffle to emulate Flash. I've got Ruffle installed on my computer and browser, so you can still actually play old Flash games. But there is a file converter for that if you want. I'm just trying to remember what it's called. But yeah, if you want to do a game in a Flash file, you can still do that. That's totally an option. You can convert it to JavaScript and then just like re-export it out of Unity if you want to. That works. But it's still it's basically like making a game out of a PowerPoint.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I mean, that's kind of how these things work, anyways. Interactive PowerPoints. Actually, totally side note. I had a training at my day job today because I changed jobs. You all know, right? And
All right.
Can you click the cash register at the back? No. Sort of. There's a little link back there. But anyway, the one of the trainings, actually several of the trainings I had were done like 20 years ago as interactive PowerPoints, or they're basically like Flash animated, but they're the same concept as like point and click Flash animation kind of stuff. They were all done within old PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah.
And then
the only thing I have to warn, right? I have to warn people who might want to get into making Flash games because it is an art. Ruffle has not yet figured out how to emulate ActionScript 3 specifically. So you can use ActionScript 1 and 2 just fine, but if you decide to make something using ActionScript 3, it's going to bust on any part that uses that. So just stick to ActionScript 1 and 2.
I don't even know what that means, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's just for the people on the back end side of things. Right. Though I think they're close to figuring out how to emulate ActionScript 3. It's one of the guys who works at Newgrounds has been working on upgrading Ruffle, which is a Flash emulator for your browser and computer.
Huh. Well, it's actually that's actually really interesting because I know that like there's so many people that were really dependent upon Flash as an artistic tool, and when I heard they were going to like stop supporting it and stop, and depublish it, I was really like surprised that somebody would do that.
Yeah.
My warning is going to be for anybody who wants to make games and has not done so yet. You're going to make the same mistake when you get in there. You're going to go say, well, I've got this idea. I want to create my first game, and it's going to be a massive multiplayer online role-playing game with destructive terrain, and it's only going to take me 47 years, right? Like, no. Do not do that.
Just make them small. Be simple.
Find the cheapest garbage, tiny little nothing of a game that you can make as easily as possible. You get the job done. You learn from it, and then you move on to the next project.
Yeah, just make sample games.
Even my little point-and-click game
Newgrounds
here turned out to be way too complex, right? So
just make your simple game, put it on Newgrounds, move to the next game. Exactly. Get your works under your belt. Shoot, I have a game on Newgrounds. It took us a month to make, but we just moved on from it.
Yeah, good. I'm gonna have to check that out too. Should put that in the chat.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me grab that.
Well, that was irritating. What I do wrong? Oh, it's CE. Okay. Well, Isaac had asked if I could click on the cash register in the back, and I can't technically because it's not an active thing.
There you go. If anybody gets bored, it's a
cool.
Really weird dating sim visual novel.
Oh, that's amazing. Anyway, yeah. My Fly Fox says my goal is to make a Metroidvania clone. I've made a couple little things to learn how to code. It's been a long-term project for a Steven Starlight game. That'll be legit. I know a guy who has done some of that same kind of stuff. So, as far as Metroidvania stuff. Anyhow, moving on. I want to change my presentation.
And
Because I did click on that thing, and we will load that up here as part of the no. Here we go. Kitty's Day Out adoption certificates.
Oh, you checked the other one. All right.
Yeah. That's the one that's on the back of the cash register in that little desky thing. Male and female house cats. Catherine Taylor, that must be Kitty. And Claude Taylor. They're house cats.
I'm guessing Julia is the sleeping old lady.
Must be. Adopter. Also, there's something written under it. Well, that was a weird thing to do. Okay, here we go. Under Julia Taylor, it says something Williams. So she must be. Oh, that thing she was saying that the walking sticks is PW, and that must say Patricia Williams under there. Well, how about that? So she has all the cats to mask her smell as she's on the lam. There we go. He was like 10 in human years. That is an excellent question. Am I alone?
All years are human years.
All years are human years. So, yeah. So there we go. That's the that's what's in that desk drawer there, Isaac. So, okay. So let's go back to share screen. Go back to the game.
You did deduct that one when we came in here, right?
Oh, the 3 you mean?
No, 1 for library.
There was 3 for library.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
We're at 0.
Which means at the end of this, we'll jump straight to chapter.
Yep. Also, this is interesting here. This clock, I noticed that it's on a different time. Let me zoom back out again. This clock says it's 7 a.m., just before 7 a.m., whereas Grandma's clock said just before 7 p.m. Oh, and here's a book. Rin Tin in Slovakia. Oh, that's great.
Hey, Twinless is in the chat. Come on,
yeah, hey, man.
Twinless.
Choose Your Own Adventure is a great genre. It is. Yeah. It is a different kind of experience in a comic, though. But, that's fine.
Yeah, actually, the link to the game I posted, being a dating sim, is technically a choose your own adventure. The visual novel format is one of the better digital formats for choose your own adventure.
It is.
But this is an interesting way of doing it.
The Romancian Chef, McWilliams. Where'd the recipe come from, anyway? The Atlas World map. Zanzibar. Congobabwe. Canada. Quebecia. The Democratic Republic of the States.
Yeah, but see, Canada is its actual name. That's not a weird spelling or anything.
Apologies to all the Canadians the Canadians out there.
The Northern Tundra. That's not what tundra is. Okay. Tundra is a very specific type of terrain, man.
Not
I will have to correct that.
So, Snowberia.
This says more like apologies to the world.
Okay, we got to zoom in here because I can't read some of these. The Lakes region, the East Atlantic region, Dixie region, Tropic region, Southeric region, Plains. Actually, not to be super picky about your Plains region here.
I know why though.
Where my fingers start is about where the plains stop. There are no plains from here to here. That's all mountains. So,
Unless we're in an alternate future where
There
the
are some
plains have
plains-
completely overtaken the mountains. Like you look at the mountains, they're just green from top to bottom.
yeah, they've just been flattened and they're all green. So, there are some plains up in Montana, but out in this area, the Rockies are huge. Okay.
Also, North Texas is part of the plains.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah,
Which would
that's
be
where I live.
which would be right here. Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
and
don't
also
think-
like
All the way to Dallas. Dallas is in the very bottom of the Great Plains.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a an alternate future because it's in the past.
Oh, that just makes it even more alternate of a future.
We went so far into the future, time started all over again.
Yeah, it's cyclical.
Achievement unlocked geography lesson. Weird world they live in, isn't it? It is weird, and I don't like it. I'm finding it very uncomfortable. I spent a lot of my childhood looking at maps. Now I just feel all dirty inside.
I know how you feel.
That map
Okay.
is my kind of guilty pleasure with this comic.
Go to the other library. Oh, we don't even get to see the other library.
Why do
Okay.
we even need another library?
Well, probably because there's more book clues in there. But we'll just have to now go back to the list. I got to scroll down to chapter 10. Congratulations, you reached your checkpoint. You're safe from a game over for now. Oh, okay. You had 9 lives. You have 9 lives.
We know that's
From
actually
now on,
7.
anytime you get a game over, go back to the most recent checkpoint and deduct 1 life. If you run out of lives, this game is really over, and then you'll have to start all over again. Careful not to run out of lives. You may proceed to the next chapter, or Kitty's older brother will come after you. Wait, what?
It says subscribe.
But why would that even matter? We don't know anything about him. That would be so terrifying. So
There's also a cat. I feel like I could take him.
yeah, but he's like an anthro-cat from an alternate world. Maybe he's
You know what?
tougher
That
than-
makes me even more likely to take him. He might be like more like skittish or human than like an actual cat. I feel like the actual cat would at least have the gall to try to fight as hard as possible.
By the way, everybody, subscribe to Kitty's Day Out.
Okay, so are we back to the? Is this checkpoint here in the middle of the dealio? And can we
Right,
just
you're
keep
moving
going?
forward now.
Okay. He just left. I'm going back to playing with my ball of yarn. And so, just like this page got tore out of the journal.
You were very observant.
Yeah. And then Grandma shows up with dinner for all million cats. Breakfast
So
time.
there you
Can
go,
I get
guys.
it?
She's not dead.
Not dead.
Or she could
Right.
be the living dead.
She's right there at 7 in the evening or morning or whatever. Fluffy, Puss, Scruffy, Tiger. He's Siberian. Socks, mittens, boots, boxing gloves. Snowball and Snow Puff. Misty. Oh my God. This house is officially a crime against humanity. Milkshake, pancake, handshake. Oh, now we're getting into names after food groups. Heaven's sake, go jump in a lake. Why so many cats? Why are there so many?
She didn't want to have to worry about a burial. That's why, you know.
She's the little old cat lady.
Hey, that's Cartoonicus from. Hey, here you go. Hey, that's the grandma from Cartoonicus' little video. Yes.
Yes, it is.
I don't think he knows about the second,
In the
about the
flesh.
second library. I don't know about the second library. Oh, Oh man, I'm just missing some really fire chat. Is that a real QR code?
Yes, it is. Well, actually, it's 1/4. Wait a minute. Depends on what you're looking at. Are you
The one
looking
in
at
the
what we
previous-
just saw a second ago, or
Yeah.
or someone
What we saw
starting?
a second ago.
Yeah, that is 1/4 of a QR code.
Oh, good gravy. Okay. And Fly Fox says, has anybody heard of Super School? For some reason, it's on my mind right now.
No, never heard of it.
Yeah, Twitless, have you heard of that?
And Isaac says Snowball 2 is the other cat. Snowball 2. Captain Furpants, Colonel Puffykins, Paw Prince McGee, Banner McFlufflebottoms, and of course Princess Penelope. Wait, where's Mr. Woggles? Go for an operative. Frank Griffin Jr. You're a regular Frank Griffin Jr. What on earth? Okay. I do not know too many cats, even for me. Achievement unlocked. And Kitty.
You may want to zoom out a little. Yeah, there we go.
We're at 50% there. Okay. This is for you.
Should we start doing voices?
Oh, hey, she does speak. I can hear. No, really, you work so hard. Well, I admit I did spend a full 15 seconds slaving over a hot can opener, but that's what it takes to take care of your loved ones.
Huh?
Oh, sorry. Oh, is it?
Still,
It's still Kitty.
Sorry, Grandma. Or sorry. Thank you, Grandma.
Yeah, you probably should have the tail curving the other direction to guarantee that it's Kitty. It almost looks like it's pointing at the grandma.
Oh. Thank you.
You're not doing too good there. What's eating you, kiddo? It's not another hairball, is it?
How would you like to respond? It's nothing, or I'm not hungry.
Well,
is it possible to die from picking one of these responses?
No, it is not. This is dialogue options.
Although, if it is possible to die from one of these options, then you just go back to the top of the page and pick the other option, because this is a checkpoint page.
Yes.
Abigail,
not hungry, dies of hunger.
Around. She's a teenage cat, so it's a nothing. What's eating you? Nothing. Well, that's fun. For option 1, skip to chapter 12. Only if you've been to the fence. For option 2, skip to chapter 13.
So I guess that's what we're doing.
Okay. Chapter 13. Oh, it's nothing. No, it's I'm not hungry. Which is a lie. It's a damn lie. How would you like to respond? I'm not hungry. Ding, I'm not hungry. So it's not a choice, Isaac says. Yeah, we spent all of our extra life going to the library, so
yeah.
I don't know how we would have gotten to the fence, but I'm sure there is some way in there. Excuse me, by the way. I meant to mute my mic and forgot.
No problem.
Hey,
guess
cartoon.
There you go. I guess I'm just not hungry. Must have eaten too much last night.
I believe it. Except you didn't eat anything last night either. And you told us reading would cost us.
Every time we have done a comics creators club, we've always done these ridiculous voices.
Well, no, I think he means because we went to the library, so we didn't get to the fence.
Oh.
We would have had to have gone a different way through the house to get to the fence. And
Well, that is the point of this comic, is that you
Yeah.
should never be able to do everything in one run. So just like a good old-fashioned point and click, build your own story adventure, you can, TV. Sorry.
TV was definitely the optimal choice. I'm just going to, reiterate that.
Yeah, except we wouldn't have, well, actually, I would say we wouldn't have seen the weird jacked up map, but you're right, that would have been better.
But you know what, Isaac? You can always go and read it and try it in your own run.
That's true. Is you can always play again.
And not look at the map.
Oh gosh, that map is going to become the new American cheese on pizza, isn't it?
Probably. Fly Fox Pro says, I don't want to be insensitive, but getting Kitty's figure, I'm concerned that her food avoidance could develop into an eating disorder. And Isaac says it's iPad time, so he's going to look up the comic while he's listening to the stream.
All right. And I did make the comic so that it there are pros and cons to both using it on a browser or that is, on a PC or on a tablet or phone. So
I had a really hard time navigating it on my phone. I'll be completely honest.
No, but say things like zooming in on stuff makes it really easy, So
like a pinch zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
They each have their own, and I figure if for the people who are really interested in figuring out the mystery, you can use both in concordance to try to work it. So anyway.
Yep. I'd believe it, except you didn't eat anything last night either. Did you get into the catnip now, did you? I told you, you can have that stuff when you're older.
Oh, no, nothing like that. It's just, I don't know. I just haven't been feeling like myself lately.
I once had that happen when I was bumped on the noggin. Just like a mom. Are you high? Isaac says. By an Encyclopedia Britlandia. It took me 3 days and 2.5 volumes to remember who I was. Now, why don't I sit down in this big, comfy armchair and you can tell old Grandma all about it. Come on, girlie. You've always appreciated a good tummy rub. Now, what seems to be the problem?
How would you like to respond? I'm bored. It's the dog next door. Or this collar is tight. All right, everybody. What you thinking?
I'm thinking maybe that's enough Kitty's Day Out for today.
This is definitely taking longer than I expected.
Yeah. I will tell you, the experience is very, very much like Choose Your Own Adventure, right?
I read a lot of those as a kid, and I am definitely influenced by them.
Yep. And even the flipping page chat to different chapters is like flipping to different pages. That kind of thing is like it. It is a little with Tapas. It's a little weird because of the way they have their screen laid out.
I think it's harder because you're having to do it on stream and it's scrunching the
That's part of it. But even with the full screen, even when I have it on full screen, it's still scrolling through it is somewhat intuitive.
It's a very disjointed experience.
If you had it set, if it was possible, I know Tapas can't do this, but if it was possible for these to be actual buttons, right? Like I'm bored. If those were actual buttons and it would move you along, like a point and click adventure.
Well, I have a solution for that, though. Let's see. If you'll need to scroll down just a little bit, I think. And I can't remember if I may need to add. Oh wait. Oh, that's right. Scroll down to the end of the chapter here, Okay, I still need to put them in the early chapters. My bad. But I will be doing that, and then later on when we're doing this all again, there are I've put in links in the description for every place that you can go from there, so that you can click on those.
Okay. Yeah, that would be something. The other thing too is that like on the way we have the our forces website, and of course we need to do a bunch of work over there and all kinds of stuff, but it's got places where you can select the pages out from a drop down menu underneath the comic. And that would, I think, something like that would also make the reading order a little easier.
Okay. I chose Tapas originally, just, I could put this on a million websites, but I wanted to get one done, figure out how I was going to do it, understand everything I was working with, and know that I had it right before I moved on to others. So, yeah, I may very well move this to other things and try out different formats in the future.
So I put him under the sofa. Keep saying, okay. So now let's talk about the thing. So, would you guys like to do a one shot D&D? This was fun. Actually, we've talked about it some before. I'm not sure that how we'd want to do something like that, just because my experience. Oh, hey, Twillis is here.
Hey, I wanted to hop on, say hey.
Hey.
Support Cartoonicus here.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you've mentioned this. This is quite a lot of work in the sense that this is an adaptation, and this is a very rare thing of where a video game gets adapted directly to a comic. Because there's, I've played through the prototype of this that actually does have all the buttons, that does the sort of point and click that would show up on Newgrounds. In fact, I ended up because I've been along the ride here for the development of this project from very early on, and so I remember I shot over a bunch of classic Newgrounds games to Cartoonicus. I said, hey,
that's right,
you got to play Gretel and Hansel on Newgrounds, because you got to see what this genre can do, and then some of the other classics that are on there, and what else did I show? I think I showed you Alice is Dead, and
Alice
a few
is
others.
Dead is a good one.
Yeah. So like some classic Newgrounds stuff, and then we have a yearly get together where we play video games for like 4 or 5 straight days, and so Cartoonicus would often pull this this old laptop that, like, every meme of a laptop that you've ever heard, where it sounds like a jet engine and it's like melting furniture and such, like that was the laptop he was working on this on. and I was a little afraid once or twice that the house was going to burn down, but he was working on it.
But were you at his house at least?
No, he was at mine.
Oh, that's fine.
I told you this thing sounded like a nuclear reactor. But hey, let me boot up my game. What engine thing were you using that, like,
Game Maker 2?
Game Maker 2 that made the fans on your computer sound like a bloody Harrier jet engine. But no. So I've been here for a very long time.
Sounds like a jet engine and smelled like the elephant's foot.
Yeah. So he took that working prototype and he translated it into a comic, which, like I said, a lot of times comics will get translated into video games, but not very often do you see a video game translated in such a sort of one-to-one fashion. So this is a fascinating experiment that is, being pulled through the lens of a choose your own adventure. So I think you got a very interesting route that was taken to get this project to where it's at. And the other thing I'll mention, and again, I have to be very careful with what I say, so I can't say really much at all. The only thing I can say is, having been with Cartoonicus on this project, and I'll just say related projects, he has put over 10 to 15 years of development into all of this, so there's a lot more to come, and more than and I think it's fair to say that there'll be comics and other types of experimental media, and so it's going to be, there's a lot coming. This is just the first dip into a much larger ocean, as it were. So I just I think I can say that much. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So like I said, this ultimately is part of a much larger thing that is Cartoonicus's magnum opus, the thing that he really wants to put out into the world. So it's a lot is coming.
So yeah, I think it's fun, and I like how, so far anyway, I mean, this is barely scratching the surface of it all, right?
Yeah, like we didn't get into any of those mechanics that the hard mode actually was supposed to affect, for instance, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, part of it's because like your clues are all like, I have to write everything down. I write slow, dude.
Well, that's the thing, right? This game can be done many different ways.
Mhm.
If you want to just read through the story and not care about the game at all, you can do so. If you just care about the game but aren't interested in clue hunting, you can do it that way. If you're interested in clue hunting, that's one thing. But then if you really want to double down into the ARG and figure out the secret story behind everything, that's another, right? And so.
Yep.
I will be honest. When I went through it, when you first shared it, I kind of just ignored the game aspect and went through every single one of the pages to just see what it was about.
Right.
Which
That's
is another.
how I read it the first time, because the first time and it was like months and months and months ago, probably even a year ago. I was doing the same. I did the same thing, and I was just like I was just soaking in the tub with my cell phone through it, right? And I was just like, I'm not gonna do math or anything. I'm just gonna page, and but that's the but like I wanted to. But one of the points I wanted to do with the show is I knew you had those elements in there, so I wanted to exploit that for the sake of the show and see how that would really work out.
Yeah, I'm glad we did.
And it's enjoyable because it gave some contour to the experience of the show, because we knew where we were ending as all that kind of shook out on all that. So and so that was so that was fun. So the one but there are some things about the world building that I find very puzzling, right? So, and this may be saying too much, but one of the weird things, right, is so you have these cats that are people-y cats, anthro cats, right, that seem to be living human type of lifespans, right? They can talk, but they still are treated more or less like cats, right? So, like, I've had 14-year-olds. None of my 14-year-olds would want a little mouse toy when they were 14, and they, even if they did for whatever reason, they sure wouldn't hide it under the sink or whatever, or the couch. Like, that's like overtly cat behavior, and she's a 14-year-old cat eating cat food out of a dish on the floor.
Oh no, not in a dish on the floor. There was a spoon in that bowl, and she poured milk into it.
All right, I can take this one. Okay, so whatever question you have about how the dynamics of the anthropomorphization work, I can tell you that no one on God's green earth has put more thought into the philosophical and ontological ramifications of that than Cartoonicus has.
Oh no, I don't doubt that.
That's all I'm saying.
It's taking all of my effort to hold back from explaining it all right now.
He's got a bloody doctoral thesis on like how.
Part of what it is though is like, so the difference in aesthetic style between her and the other cats, like. My first in my reading it was either because, okay, we've got the house full of cats and you have one main character cat, So we're going to make her more people-y so that she stands out amongst all the other cats because she's the main character cat, right? So it's an identification with the reader through all that kind of stuff, right? Or it's something else, like some sort of difference, like the in Narnia, right? You got animals that can talk and animals that can't talk, and they're different, right?
Mickey Mouse is the same way.
What? Oh yeah, Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse is the same way, right? Because you have Goofy, who is a dog person, and Pluto. Yeah.
Right. It's the famous.
Yeah.
When you're dealing
definitely.
with how to use anthropomorphic animals in a universe, there are basically 4 different ways you can do it.
Here we
You
go.
can have. No. This is just a little.
We've talked about this on screen before.
But you can have where the animals are the humans of that universe, right? And there's nothing else. You can have where the animals are the anthros are the humans of that universe, but then you also have normal animals, like say Wind in the Willows, right?
Yep.
Actually, no. Wind in the Willows did have humans as well. You can have humans, anthros, and animals together.
Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, Wind of the Willows sort of implies that animals are animals when they're around people.
Actually,
like
that's true, right? They're just kind of unusually intelligent
within their own universe. That they're the anthros
Right.
within their own worlds. Yeah.
Wait, Wind in the Willows though has Toad gets arrested and I think put into a human prison. So there's
Right.
some
There is that.
there's you don't arrest a frog.
I should have brought Into the Willows up because that actually goes everywhere in that book.
I don't know. In England, you might arrest a frog.
Like at the same time, Toad is
today you would.
Yeah. Well,
driving.
and really, and it's sorry to interrupt.
That's a French joke.
Back to the Wind of the Willows thing.
Oh, wow.
Just to point out, like you're not wrong, Cartoonicus, but like that scene in Wind of the Willows is somewhat different from the other scenes in Wind of the Willows. So,
yeah, things do change when the humans get like involved. It's like the story kind of changes.
Well, it's not even that. There's just a variance. I mean, Toad is driving a cart being pulled by a horse who's on all fours, who is complaining that he has to pull the cart and not get to ride in it, right? Like it's kind of like every animal's is however far or less on the sliding scale of anthropomorphism as you want.
Yeah,
so I shouldn't have used that as an example. But basically it can be either anthros and animals, right? Anthros and humans and animals, or all 3 together, right? Mine is all 3 together, and that's the way I prefer to do it. Like you said, Mickey Mouse is another example. Sonic the Hedgehog, you wouldn't necessarily notice, but it technically is, that you have a very obvious difference between humans as we know them, animals as we know them, and then somewhere in the middle we have this 3rd classification of life form that actually acts as its own being.
Otherwise, Sonic eating dogs gets really horrifying.
Exactly.
It's a cannibal.
Right.
Yeah. So, Fly Fox says Cartoonicus and his interest in anthropomorphic characters is very interesting to me. It seems like a curious innocence, unlike a lot of people. Yes, I would agree. I
mean, you say that, but then like it's like Reese, like you also have an anthropomorphic strip. You've got Grabbit, so like
yeah.
Everybody, it's a common.
A lot of people have a more innocent look at it. Like I use anthropomorphic characters in some things too. Not everybody puts the deviant into deviant art with it.
Yeah, well, I think part of that has to do with like there are 2 kinds of people to kind of explain that, right? That saw Disney's Robin Hood. For most people, right? Disney's Robin Hood is no difference in tonality to Jungle Book or to Sword in the Stone, right? It's just characters that have all of the personality of people within the context of it, right? Which is very, that's just how it is. Disney's thing, you don't do that. And then there are some people that saw Robin Hood and they're like, this better not awaken something in me. And
well, that's what, honestly, this is one thing that's a curse of modernity or post-modernity, I guess, is that everyone was a little more innocent about a lot of things before the internet or too much internet seeped into everyone's brains.
Right.
Because you just go back to regular pop culture and people were just much more innocent on several different levels. And I read a really funny meme once that said that the internet made it so that everyone's essentially, how can I put this without getting vulgar? It basically said that everyone's used to be alone with their weird intrusive thoughts, but the internet allowed everyone to connect and find community with everyone else's intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And so, as opposed to being like, wow, that's a weird thought I've got, it's now it's part of my identity and there's a community for it.
Right.
And that's where, we get,
Well, and it's like, well, and it's like the idea that some level of fantasy ought to be reality, right? This idea, like, and this might be part of the Disney of our modern society, really, where like the idea that you should follow your dreams, and dream is a wish your heart makes, and stuff like that. Where like yeah, that's sort of true, but it's also sort of not, right? Like, if like you think about people telling stories about mermaids and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, so are you not gonna look for a life without fish tails? I mean, it's like,
well, I think there's also the other part
that
of
chimera, that because the idea
Yeah.
of like the sexualization of anthro characters is one that plays on this spiritual chimerism, right? And that is like, and then tries to rope it into the unreal, into something that must be real, rather than being just like a representation of something else, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I think there's a dual thing happening too. That right, there's another factor that's pushing things out further, because there could have always been one or two people in the handful of 100, like per capita, that was always that way. But before a long onslaught of sexual liberation, everything used to stay in the bedroom. You used to not know about other people's things. It'd be weird to put it out there, in or out of media. And then over time, like, you're combining the internet and the breakdown of reality and virtuality with the increase in sexual liberation, and it kind of just all explodes into this big thing.
Well, you have this idea too that like people take this concept of this is a little bit far afield from your super family friendly comic, Cartoonicus. Sorry about that.
Let's try to steer this back.
Yeah, I will in just a second. Well, you have this concept, the modern meme of don't kink shame, right? Man, there are some things people should be ashamed of, right? But beyond that is the idea that whatever kind of interest a person has, that they should subject their reality to that interest, right? Instead of saying, no, I am a person that lives within a society. I want to reshape society around whatever very specific peccadillos a person might have. And that all fantasies need to be realities, instead of realizing that, like, first of all, that's not even healthy. Second of all, it's not even possible. Right. And then so I think, so we have this what comes back to your story, and Grab It, which my son does, is a reflection on Garfield and all that those kind of comics and all that kind of stuff. Specifically, Garfield is the formula he's playing with a lot. The idea of the funny animal creatures. Those are funny because they're a very things don't really like that. Cats don't really talk. Dogs don't really, whatever. And I think that's the unreality of them is what makes them work as ideas. And so it's weird that when people have this fixation with, the sexualization of anthro characters, that they're by pushing this, they're actually removing what makes them work, right? It's the unreality of Scrooge McDuck that makes his adventures work.
Right. Anthro characters, the nice thing about them is that they can be used as essentially human characters in all the ways that you would write stories normally, but they have other things about them that can be applied to them that normally humans would not, based on what.
Yeah, like the fact that cats don't dance.
Yes. Even the fact that a cat has a tail, or that it has balance and reflexes, right? Or that a bird may be able to fly. Whatever the deal is, there's always something else that you can apply to the character, to the universe, etc., etc., that can make these characters interesting that you couldn't do if they were just human.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's also what, on a different tag, I think that's what can make superheroes work too. Is that the unreality of them allows us to play with those concepts and ideas. So. But anyway, but yeah, I guess with your complex concept of anthros within the universe that you're building, with all of this obvious alternate history that you have going on there, do you have is within the context of that story? Are you going to have space to explain some of those things, or are you just taking them as read and allowing the reader to explore
there's
discover them as they move along?
Still. Yes. Even within this particular story, I am slowly but surely laying the groundwork for the world building. I have very painstakingly plotted out a lot of things already, especially in those first few chapters. Every time you may have not even noticed them half the time, but I'm thinking like almost a filmmaker here, on exactly what establishing shots or what line needs to be in at a certain point in order to get you another idea, step closer to the understanding of the universe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think some of those things, it takes a lot of restraint, I think, as a writer, creator, whatever, to not like publish your Bible on the universe.
Yeah, right. But let me tell you, I learned a long time ago, show don't tell.
Yep.
I will stick to it with an iron grasp. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fly Fox says, to be honest, when the metal sits out of a panel, the show is diminished. Which is fair, which is true.
Yep. We miss out, yeah.
I almost set out today.
I think this would be really boring if I didn't have other people coming on to push back against me, to say things that I don't agree with. So, yeah. Anyway, so how, Cartoonicus, how long do you anticipate this comic will be when it's finished?
Well, so what do we have here? Let me remind myself how many chapters I have at the moment, not including if we do include a couple of placeholders that I have yet to fill in, then we're looking at 81, and we have just gotten into the third act of this. So if I had to try to estimate it, I'd say something like maybe 120 to 150. Mind you, that means that, like I said, you never read through the entire thing all at once, right? So to go through any particular run, you're probably going to be reading no more than about 20 or 30 chapters each time.
So very, very interesting. So are you have any plans to do a print version of this, or is your desire still to...
I've thought about the possibility. It could be interesting to sell a book, even maybe with like a little miniature magnifying glass and other things, and it's like this clue book that you go through with the same kind of mystery. I don't know. Depends on how this goes.
There's Lemony Snicket's done some interesting stuff with the book that also has some like clues and things in there. Like I think there was like what was it, the Beatrice letters, and you actually punched out letters and then had
Yeah.
to spell things out. And so there's some interesting things, some games you can play.
Yeah, you could sell it like a board game, like it all comes in one box set.
Yeah,
Right.
There's some things you can try. You just got to experiment a little bit with it.
So Fly Fox is asking, what has been the reception for Kitty's Day Out?
Oh, what do we have? Let me remind myself how many subscribers I've got so far. 20
Just pull up your
subscribers, 7.7 thousand views, and 198 likes. So it's not huge, but I have been getting some traction and a lot of reactions. A lot of people saying, "Hey, this is a really cool, interesting idea." One person on Twitter said they loved it so much they would love to do something like this and make their own comic game. I checked their art style, and they have a very anime art style. So I said to them, you could do like an anime dating sim visual novel kind of a thing, right? That would be really cool to see this spawn a certain genre, because there'd be so many different ways that you could probably use this idea.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not something that I would have seen. Like, comics lends itself to this choose your own adventure format because that's kind of how we read the page anyway, right? But I would never have thought about gamifying that aspect. I
probably never would have myself if I had not already been creating a game to begin with.
Yeah. I tell you, there's been times where I've used similar mechanics, not with all the zooming and things, but as far as like leaving visual clues or trying to leave visual clues in comics so that people are flipping back to page 2 to see if they missed the clue or whatever, things like that. But I've never thought about going this far with the choose your own adventure stuff, and I think it's got a lot of interest to that.
And that was the idea. I was hoping to try to grab people's interest with something very unique, that basically advertises itself. It's like, wait, what? It's a game?
Yep. I also think that the idea of the game that thinks it's a comic.
The comic that thinks it's a game.
The comic that thinks it's a game. Either way, both ways.
The game that thinks it's a comic is Comic Zone.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
There you go. That's
the comic that thinks. Comic thinks it's a game is Homestuck. I'm pretty sure that's the the numero uno.
Well, I thought Homestuck started out as a game and just became a comic.
Well, even when it started out, it still read like
it was a comic. I think the whole way through. It was just
you could kind of call it a visual novel. It's just a linear progression visual novel.
It was another one of those kind of liminal examples where they're trying to tease the limits of what you can do. Similar.
It incorporated music into it very well though, because of the format they were using.
People, like I said, what's interesting is I could never get into it myself, but I know that Homestuck has a pretty devoted fan base. There are people who really dig, they really get into that sort of thing. They really love just what, that sort of liminal space storytelling. You just got to find that right niche, that right nerve, and it can really take off. So,
yeah, I profoundly believe, and maybe I feel like I have to believe. Of course, yours stuff is so visually interesting. That I think you got a leg up on it, but I just have to believe that most comics, or at least very many, or at least mine, it's just about finding the right audience.
Well, that's how it is for everyone, right?
Someday I'll find that audience. I swear.
Like it's out there somewhere.
It's out there somewhere. It's got to be.
It's more than just the people on this panel. There's got to be.
It's got to be. So. So, I do not have a show scheduled for next week at all. I'm so far out of it right now. I have been between my new job and I've been writing like a lot, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Cool.
But I've been mostly avoiding social media, so I haven't gotten a chance to talk to anybody about anything or schedule anything at all. So there may or may not be a show next week. I'll tell you what. If I can't come up with anything else, I'll just work on comics, on reformatting Old Forces pages and hang out, and people could come and make fun of me if nothing else happens.
Well, I'm glad you made time for me. So
and if I'm free, I'll come and carry the show.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. So, guys, get out there. And if you have a Tapas, subscribe to Twitless's Awesome Comics. So, and
I think you made Cartoonicus.
Yeah, I did mean Cartoonicus.
Well, I was going to say, which includes Super School.
That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll put
Super
the link
School on
in the private
Tapas as
chat
well?
here.
Have you been updating it there? Or just website?
They're both under my
Okay.
account. So I still am catching up on updating Super School on Tapas.
Well, I prefer to read on your website, but I'll at least give you an additional subscriber on Tapas.
Yay!
Well, thank you.
I will say that I am hoping that Force's senior year will have some pages rolling in hopefully by the beginning of June.
All right.
I think we're looking on with that one.
Nice.
But I don't know for sure. I am finishing writing that whole story out while Mrs. H finishes up some others of her commitments, and then we'll get back to it all. So very exciting. So also long-term friend of the channel, Stephen Kirkpatrick, has got a campaign out that I should have a link to, but I can't remember what it's called. Heroes That Inspire, I think is what it's called, but I didn't prepare it or anything. But yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything, man. I've gone all stupid. I've gone completely dumb.
Video games do rot your brain.
Oh man.
And how?
I think I'm just tired. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna call it there, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Oh,
Hopefully
go check out the link that I put because I'm working on a new project. It's the Dreamscape Dilemma. I might have brought it up on here before. I don't know. But that is going to be a premium comic that I'm working with a different artist on. We've got the first 5 pages up right now as a preview plus the cover. You can have a lot of fun with that. And I need to get on her butt about this so we could get some more stuff up. We are putting them early on Patreon before the chapter's over. So if you don't want to wait to buy the whole chapter, you can support on Patreon, read it that way. And if you support any chapter during its creation on Patreon, because we're going to be selling the chapter digitally cheaper than a Patreon membership, we'll just send you the PDF when it's done as well.
Very cool. Also, I also wanted to point out to Twitless that I saw earlier on Twitter when I was posting the link to this very show that you got some very kind words from Colin about Omega Girl.
I did. Yeah. I'm currently. I need to get issue 5 finally listed on Indie Planet, and because I have 5 like pretty much ready to go, and I'm currently wrapping up issue 6, so there'll be 6 issues, and 5 and 6 are some of the strongest work yet. So I'm really looking forward to what people have to say about it.
Excellent. And yeah. Also, Fly Fox is talking about some projects that he's been working on there in the chat. If you don't know, he also does a pulp style novel over on Subscribe. No. It's what is it called?
Light novel?
No, it's kind of a light novel, but I was thinking the platform it's on.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called. Maybe he'll remember. And no, he doesn't have. I don't think he's a mod. He can't. Substack. That's right.
Yes, the subscribing blogging platform.
Indeed. Okay, that's it. That's the show. And we will see you guys next time around on the internet. Until then, get out there and read some comics. We'll see you all next time. Or maybe it's just some of you.